Welcome. Take It Up with Jessica Lee. I'm here with Christophe Bodin, who is the Chief Customer Officer from Anap.
Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you.
It's an exciting world. You're in the connected planning world.
We are in the connected planning world.
What does that mean?
All right, so that's a very good question, right? So let me decompose that, right? Connected planning. I'm going to start with the planning, and then I'm going to go to the connected.
Okay.
So planning, what is it, right? When you think about it, planning is just about making better, faster, more accurate decision, and that's what the Anap platform brings to the market.
Right.
Is a platform where you can make better decision faster and in a more accurate way. So that's the planning side, right? The connected side is when you think, especially big enterprise, big companies, all these silos, sales, marketing, supply chain, finance, HR, and, all of these people. Now, if you want to make really a better decision, then you have to have those people talking to each other, right?
Break down the silos.
Break down the silos, getting them on the platform,
collaborate, share.
Right? Exactly, right? Because if you think about it, supply chain, for instance, let's take supply chain as an example. How can I make a good decision if I don't know what sales is forecasting or what the supply of the goods are, right? So I need this information from the various departments, and what Anap brings in a unique fashion is the possibility, because we're born and raised in the cloud, to bring all these people on the platform, making sure that they talk to each other and that there is only one set of data and one set of truth, right? So the best example I have, which is kind of interesting, is we have only one code base. We only have one product, one SKUs. Well, we have various licensing stuff, but it's only one code base. However, we are in 6 magic quadrants from a quadrant standpoint. Sales performance management, supply chain management, FP&A, SNOP. For us, it's all the same thing. It's about modeling the business, making sure that people can model their decision-making process and have them doing business.
Right.
And then bringing those people together. Right. So for us, it's all the same thing. It's all about decision-making. So that's the connection and the planning side.
That's the connected planning. There you go. Okay, so I want to dive into the challenges because I think the role of customer success is evolving, and it's evolving for the sales side, the marketing side, and the support side. Yeah, so, I think when you look at growing an enterprise and recruiting, what are some of the skills and some of the changes in the profile that you are recruiting for these roles?
It's changing, and we're going through that right now, right? Because let's talk about our sales motion, which I think is not unique. It's a lot of companies, especially SaaS companies, are facing the same thing, which is we're all about land and expand, right? That's a typical SaaS subscription model. So when you think about it, it's like, okay, fine, well, how do I land, and then how do I expand, and what kind of skills do I need to do that with my customers? And the classic marketing, sales, post-sales model doesn't really fit into that model, right? Because how can you explain to a customer that he or she will be talking to different people depending on the sales stage or cycle they're into? That doesn't make sense. What they want is, hey, I've got a business problem, I want to solve it, and I want people who can really understand that and help me solving it. Right? So then sales become not an afterthought, but something that is just a consequence of that conversation, right? So you need to have salespeople that are much more into consultative sales, into solution selling, into understanding business problem. But at the same time, same thing happened to the customer success people, right? Customer success people are not only here to make sure that the technology is implemented correctly and that the software is adopted. They're also here to help the customer resolving their business problem. And specifically for us at Anap, that's really, really key. So when you hear me saying that, actually it's kind of the same conversation. So where's the border?
Difference?
Well, there isn't, I think, in my mind. It's like, you and I were discussing prior, right?
Well, there are some differences.
Well, there are.
But the hunter and the farmer.
The hunter and the farmer, right? We were talking about that. It's like, well, it requires different skills to get into an account that doesn't know you, may know you from the marketing standpoint, and we can talk about marketing in that equation too. So they're kind of aware. So in our case, okay, I kind of understand what connected planning is, okay, now how do I land? How do I sell the first use case? Requires very specific skill because you need to have people that can really, express what connected planning is, how does it fit into the current planning process, and then eventually get to the land. Very different skill from somebody who's now convinced about the quality of the platform, and is going to explain, hey, you're using us in finance. What about you and I go and talk to the head of sales that he or she can understand why Anaplan can be a good solution? Very different skills, but it's all about, I wouldn't call it selling, I would call it showing the value to the customer. And to your point, when you hunt or when you farm, different things.
Yeah, and I think from the customer's point of view, I think the question is like, is this person really on my side, really truly being a partner, or are they in a way driven by maybe quotas or revenue targets, even though they are supposed to be customer support
Correct.
partners?
So that's the notion of trusted partner and trusted advisor versus sales rep or sales exec, right? So to your point, based on the commission system and how much variable, then you actually change the behavior of the person, right? So typically a salesperson is usually on the 50-50, can
base and commission,
can barely survive and live with the 50% base, but has to get to the 50% variable. So then you drive a certain behavior. I need to sell, right? So that's why even in our case where the customer success people are carrying a number, it's only 30% of their total comp, right? So then totally different behavior. Right? Even some of them are at 20% to make sure that we incent the right behavior, which is I want you to be the trusted advisor to the customer. That's 70 to 80% of your job. Now, when we're able to expand and to succeed in different places and to renew, right? The renewal is the key thing of customer success because before you can expand, you have to retain. Right? But it's only 30% or 20%, right? So that's how you can incent the different behavior and making sure that you're not confusing the customer.
Right. The role of the sales engineer, I think, is also changing in that, yes, the sales engineer supports the salespeople when it comes to hunting, but now that you're looking at customer success and doing some of that upsell and cross-sell, do you bring sales engineer in to make sure that they support the customer success managers in that journey?
Yes. That's interesting. You bringing that to the table because it's actually what we're living through right now, which is the connection between our pre-sales, and more we stop calling them pre-sales. We call them,
solutions engineer,
solution consultants, SCs, solution consultant, because they can be brought to the table by the salesperson or by the customer success person, right? And if for themselves, there's also a transformation going on, right? Because it's not about the product and the features and the functions. It's about the business problem that the customer is trying to address, right? So there's a lot of transformation that is impacting what we used to call pre-sales, which is on much more kind of business consulting, solution consulting, that can be called by both, in this case, the hunter and kind of the farmer, right? Yeah, there's a big transformation going on in the pre-sales world.
And then I see the changes in the marketing too, because marketing tends to be a lot more like customer acquisition, a lot of content, a lot of campaigns, but a lot of that effort of the content that's created for the marketing and the sales enablement is now used for the customer success to do upsell and cross-sell.
Yep. That's a good one too, because we're seeing at Anap, but I've seen it during my consulting days that there's this new emerging function within marketing called customer marketing, right? So dedicated people and team that are totally all about the customer base and what kind of campaign, what kind of content, to your point, that you need to bring specifically to a customer that they solely aware of our products and of our way to use your own solution. And what's interesting is that I was talking to him not long ago, and he was telling me, that's interesting. I'm actually spending 80% of the time with your team, the customer success and the post-sales team, versus with the account exec and the sales team. So even marketing is starting to gravitate towards customer success and post-sales. We need to stop calling it pre-sales, post-sales. It's all about customer experience and customer success.
Continuous,
the
continuous everything, continuous sales, marketing, continuous support. So the other thing that I think that's very interesting is how when you recruit people, how much of a technical skill do you need? How much of customer nurturing kind of skill? What's the culture that you want?
Yeah, so big shift in the kind of talent that we're trying to acquire here. Because I remember, at the start of the customer success function, not only at Anap but in our companies, to your point, we're trying to find people who understand the solutions, kind of pre-sales, but with implementation mindset. We're getting away from there. Now it's like, okay, I want people who can understand the business problem. So I have now CPA people joining the customer success team. I have salespeople joining the customer success team because they can speak the language of the customer, right? So very often people at Anap ask me, hey, what kind of profile, like when I talk to the recruiting team, and we're a hyper-growth company, so we hire a lot of people, so they're always asking me, hey, what is it that we need to look for? And my only answer is, don't look about technical skills, look about relationship skills and also the aptitude of the person to think multidimensionally. It's specific to us because we're living in this multidimensional world as models and a planning tool. But I'm looking at people with aptitudes and specific things versus, hey, you need to know the solution or you need to know the technology. No, you can learn that. You need to have the mindset that then will make your customer successful. Not easy to find though.
Yes.
The recruiting and talent is a big topic.
Okay. So Anaplan's hiring.
Yes.
Right?
We are.
Now,
everywhere.
You have this role, not just customer success, but you're actually now in charge of sales at this moment.
Yeah, but that's only an interim thing. We're going through a transition, but it's interesting for me now to kind of have both.
Right.
Yeah, but that's...
Well, I mean, what it does is that it gives you the opportunity to see where you can make the team collaborate and more efficient and it's just a better overall operations.
Yep, and absolutely. And what's interesting, when I look at... So we have this concept which we call a pod, which is 5 to 6 sales rep with 3-4 customer success people, and that's the entity that covers a specific territory. When I look at the pods that are successful and the pods that are less successful, where it's successful is when actually there is no demarcation, there is no borderline, so they all work together. It's all about the customer. The only thing that changes and varies is what's the percentage of the time that you spend on hunting versus farming. Right. The pods that are not successful is where we have this old mentality of, hey, I sell, you deliver, we do a handoff or handover, and things are going to be fine, things are never fine. So where people are not working together as one unit, it doesn't matter what's on the badge, it works. We have phenomenal growth. Where we struggle with that collaboration, it doesn't work so well. So that's a unique opportunity for me to try to bring that together.
So I think you have to put the incentive in place so for them to think as one team and win as one team. The life cycle of that account.
Yeah. So that's why we so let's think about that 1 second. So on the sales side, of course, you have a quota, you have your list of customers, and that's how you measure them. That's where success and failure is. Customer success people are much more interested into the pod's health and the pod's success. Now, how you bridge them together is that, for instance, for our President's Club, so the equivalent of that big things, usually in Hawaii or in Mexico once a year, actually the best pod is going. So
as a team,
as a team, right? Yes. And they also can call people outside of the pod, we call them the village, so we push the analogy pretty far, that are actually who help them being successful. So it could be people from legal, from HR. So we have this thing, we call it customer first, like many companies do, but actually we really pushed it to really far in the company, and everybody is about customer, an Anap plan. If you work in finance or even in accounting or in invoicing, well, still the way that we invoice customer can influence our experience, right?
Yes.
So we can bring those people into the President's Club.
Right. So everyone who touches the customer has an impact on that journey for the customer and the branding.
When you think about it, everybody at some point is in contact with the customer, even if it's sending an invoice.
Yes.
Things about the engineer, well, they may not be personally in contact with the customer, but what they build is in contact. If their mindset is not aligned with what the customer is looking for, they're not building the right software.
Right.
They're building technology for the sake of technology. It doesn't work.
Now, you've worked at a lot of big companies, BMC and Oracle and
IBM.
IBM. So you joined Anaplan because obviously Anaplan is looking to grow to hit $1 billion.
Yep.
So how are you going to do it?
Well, that's what we're trying to figure out right now, right? And actually, that's pretty related to our conversation here. We have a very deep land and expand model. So if you think about what I was talking about in the connected planning story, because basically we can go from where we landed, we can go anywhere, everywhere.
To other departments.
For other departments, which is a good thing. But at the same time, there's places where it's harder to expand than others, and then less naturally, right? So for us to get to 1 billion is really to make sure that our sales force, our marketing, or customer success organization knows how to navigate where to go next, because you can end up in a dead end. You want to end up in the expansion, right? So how do we equip our people with that mindset of where is the next natural expand? Where is the value for our customers is really what we're looking into to get to our billion as fast as humanly possible. Really making sure that we help ourselves and our customers to go where the value is, and it's a different skill. It's not a skill that is readily available in the street. It's something that you need to train up and enable people to get to, because it doesn't come naturally.
Right. But I can see that because you can go into any department first, that means you have multiple doors that you can knock on at one account. And then once you go into one department, you can try to knock other doors and see who is going to be most receptive to trying it out.
So let's talk about that for 1 second, because it's actually something that at times hurts us. What I mean by that is, and that's simply human behavior, when you land somewhere, usually you get a sticker on your back, right? If we land in finance, for instance, Anaplan is a finance tool.
Your label.
Your label, right?
In that category.
Yes. And then it's hard to say, can you introduce me to your head of sales? Well, hang on a minute. No, you're the budgeting tool. You're not the territory and quota.
Well, that's why I like the connected planning, because it means that any department can use the tool. You're talking about planning. Every department plans. Yeah. And now it's connected, meaning it's like on the cloud and you can really share. I get it. I like the name.
So what we're doing, and this is where the customer success organization is helping a lot, is instead of talking about land expand, we're talking about expand, land, expand. So what I mean by that is, before we land, we want to tell the story to our customers about how far we can go, right?
The whole portfolio, the whole platform.
The whole platform. Because then, they understand that we're landing here because it's the most natural for...
Maybe that's where they have the pain point immediately.
Today, right? But at least we enter the room with, we know that you can do a lot of other things.
Yes.
Which then is impacting the way we sell, the way we service. When do you engage the customer success person who has a broader view of what the expand is versus the land? So it's bringing a lot of challenges in the go-to-market.
That's good. See, this is where marketing is crucial in the way you message and position the company when you approach a potential buyer.
Absolutely, absolutely. Especially in the stage where we are, in the 300 plus range. $1 million in annual ARR. That means that some people knows us, especially here in the Valley.
Yes.
But some people never heard about Anaplan, right?
There's a lot of branding and awareness to do.
Correct. So it's plan. I can kind of get it, but if I'm a CFO and I hear about that, I think budgeting, right? So it's how do we remove that automatic connection with it's about decision making, it's about the connection, and from a marketing standpoint, that's a big positioning and messaging challenge. I'm not taking care of that.
What are you most excited about? The future. What do we talk about? The future of planning, right? The future of connected planning.
Yeah, it's a connection with the digital transformation, which everybody talks about digital transformation. But when you think about it, digital transformation is all about making quicker, faster, better decision, right? Because everything goes faster, right? All the time. So what I'm excited about is how we, with our solution, but also with our people, can really help companies to go faster on the digital transformation and disrupt businesses. Interestingly enough, we have a lot of the disruptors, as we call them, are actually customers of Anaplan. And initially it was like, well, because technology loves technology. Not really. It's because they get it pretty fast that's actually enabling them to make faster decisions. When you're in disrupting mode, you need to make those fast decisions. That's right. And they identify that's what we're bringing to the table. That's why they like us, right? So a lot of our customers are the disruptors. So, and we're helping also the disrupted to react to the disruptors. So good things were on both sides.
Oh, that's great. One of the things I do here is that fortune favors the fast. I think somebody wrote it on our wall of fame here.
Correct. And that has never been more true, right? Yes. Because it's all about fast decisions. So, which we're super lucky here because that's exactly where we play. So we go naturally helping those customers because that's what we do. We're helping them making better, faster, more accurate decision. And we're working on phenomenal use cases. Some of them I can't talk too much about.
I can't wait to read the case studies, the success stories. Since you are in charge of sales at this point, are you thinking of making any kind of strategic sales changes, like the partnership or the way you work with partners or licensing deals?
We're thinking about a few things. Again, it's only an interim position, so I don't want to disrupt too much, but it's hard for me not to disrupt anything. So thinking about how we collaborate more with the ecosystem, so the partners. What's interesting is that we have really strong partnership with either big SIs or big management consulting firm. And this is where it's kind of linked to the digital transformation. They bring us in because we help them accelerating their transformation agenda and their transformation sales pitch to the C-suite, right? So what I'm trying to do in that, pretty unique position that I'm into right now is making sure that we elevate the conversation, right? Because no offense, but when you carry a quota as a sales rep, that you leave, and die by the quota, you may have a tendency to get into the transaction mode. When you go into transaction mode, you have a tendency to talk to people who can make today's decision. What I'm trying to do is make sure, hang on, at time, actually slow is fast. Let's try to get our story back up, talking about connected planning, not having the conversation with the VP of finance, but having the conversation with the CFO and the CRO versus the VP of sales ops and the VP of finance, that then we can see bigger and get bigger within the customer. As a result, it may impact the sales cycle in terms of the length. But long term, takes longer.
But it is more of a strategic approach that will have long-term a bigger payout.
When we do that, especially when we bring some big partners with us and some partnership with us, what we've seen is that if the reference is 1x in terms of the average deal size, we go to 5-6x. So 6 times bigger deal when we do that. Even if it's taking a bit more time, the return on invest
is worth it.
Well, definitely.
Okay, that's
so trying to influence that.
Yes, and you have the data to back this up too, so that's great.
Totally, because the biggest user of Anaplan is Anaplan. So in terms of making decision and looking at data and breaking the silo, we're a big user of our own solution. So
wonderful.
We have all the data for that.
It's been a great conversation, Christophe. I appreciate you coming and sharing your story.
It was a great conversation.
To the audience, I'm sure they're learning a lot too. Take it up with Jessica Lee, Christophe Bodin from Anaplan.